Our president is considering implementing the Insurrection Act in Minnesota. And just to give you an understanding of what how bad they look at the title of insurrection, it's right under a coup. And a coup is when military or people within the government overthrow the government, right? But right up under that is insurrection. That is basically where you are deliberately impeding on government procedures with a purpose. They don't know what that purpose is, and once they implement the Insurrection Act, they are now it can go any way. It can go any way. Um, your whole city might be on lockdown. Military might be roaming the street. You might not be able to leave. Like there are things that can happen that I do not wish to happen, and definitely in Minnesota, bro. But it's crazy out there right now. They're turning it into like y'all seen Black Hawk Down? Have you seen that? You remember that scene in Black Hawk Down when the, they were surrounding the helicopter and it was just war everywhere? That's what it looks like in Minnesota right now. Yo, yes, yes, man. It's honestly, it's really not what what am I looking for? It's not something I want to happen, but if it's the only way to get things stabilized out there, I'm for it, right? We need them to stabilize that situation because it's crazy out there. We need that. But here we go. I'm gonna let we're gonna tune into it so we can really get some more information on it.
Now we're joined by ABC News contributor John Cohen, who's a former senior official at DHS in Republican and Democratic administrations and a former police trainer. John, thanks so much for joining us. As we heard, the president spoke about potentially using the Insurrection
What's up,
Act to
my man?
quell the Minnesota protests. So let's just start with the very basics. Tell us about what the Insurrection Act is and how it
Mm.
works.
That is, I did
The
see that as well.
Insurrection
I
Act
did
can
see
be
that as
invoked by
well.
a president, but its invocation is a last-ditch effort. It can be used at the request of the government, request of a governor, or the president can invoke it on his own to suppress an insurrection, rebellion, or unlawful obstruction of federal law. The challenge for the administration is while they may be able to
What's
make
up,
a
my
legal
boy?
case that the act can be invoked, those who oppose the invocation of the act will raise concerns that it's the government's own actions in the conduct of and how they're conducting their enforcement operations and dealing with protests that's actually one of the catalysts for the current
This
unrest
is
in
crazy,
Minneapolis.
So
y'all.
tell us, what's the precedence for this?
Listen to this.
Well, it's a law that goes back to the 1700s, and it
This is not
was
new
intended
stuff.
as a way that the president could take steps if an act of rebellion exceeded the capacity of state and local officials to maintain order or to deal with an invasion by a foreign army coming into the United States. So like I said, it was intended to be invoked under the rarest of circumstances. And what it
Rarest of
essentially does is it
circumstances.
not only deploys U.S. military to the streets of a U.S. city, but
You said
it
that.
suspends prohibitions that preclude them from engaging in law enforcement activities. And this goes back to the earliest days of the Republic, where British troops would regularly go in and search colonist homes and engage in law enforcement actions. So this is something that's very fundamental to the foundation of our republic.
Yes, sir. Extremely fundamental. Extremely fundamental. Meaning, since the beginning and the inception of the United States of America, we, the people, have always felt like if things get too out of hand, we need to be able to handle that. That is the situation in Minnesota currently. Things are out of hand, bro. I saw a video, it was like a 12-second video last night where I think they got their hands on a ICE patrol vehicle and they ripped the It's a safety box, like a sealed locked box in the back of the truck. They ripped it out. Matter of fact, let me see if I can find that video. They ripped it out of the truck for what? It's a man. How I don't like name calling, right? I don't like name calling. I don't like to place negative titles on people simply because I feel some type of way about their actions. I don't want to call them ignorant. I don't want to call them dummies, but that's what they're acting like, bro. Like they're 1,000% ruining the image of everything we're working on. And bless my birthday. Damn right. Wow, congratulations on that. Congratulations, Miss Rose. That's a good look. Big ups to that, man. It's always a good thing. Um, this Insurrection Act, I believe, if implemented, right? Of course, people are not gonna like it, but you will have to understand why we're doing this, right? Simply because y'all are out here cutting up. That's it. Y'all cutting up. Y'all acting a fool. You acting like y'all ain't got no home training, no manners. You remember when people used to talk like that to you? When you would do things that were freaking, for lack of a better term, y'all remember that? Remember when you would do things that was just completely out of your damn mind and someone would say, you ain't got no home training. Yes, yes, you ain't got no home training. What in the hell? Ain't nobody told y'all that this is wrong. Ain't nobody told you what you're doing is wrong. And so now they have a they have a I have a few videos actually. I don't plan on like just showing every protest video and constantly talking about this thing, but this is the current news for us. And here in Georgia, I've heard that ICE is already out here. It's not like they're coming. They're here. They've been here. But
Perfect.